To besot or not besot, there is no try. Hey, everybody. I'm Chris.
My name's Sam.
I'm Stacy, and that was amazing.
That
Loved
was
it.
Thank you.
very unexpected.
I just came up with that on the fly, but thank you so much, and welcome to the Besotted Brain, everybody, where we do Yoda impressions, apparently.
You know what's really great is I don't think people know that we don't know what you're going to say when we get on. Like your intro is different every time, but we actually have no clue what you're going to say. So it's like a genuine reaction every time.
I love to keep y'all
Yeah.
surprised.
That's awesome.
That
That's
that
awesome.
one, like, I was actually thinking while it was going, and I'm like, all right, what should I do? What should I do? Yoda impression.
That
Let's
one
do
went
this.
really well. I gotta
Did.
say, you nailed that.
Thank you.
You got the good Yoda voice, Chris. I've never heard it, so kudos.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
All
What are you
right.
drinking, Chris?
I'm drinking a sour ale today. It's I've had this before. It's Wicked Weed Brewing Watermelon Dragon Fruit Burst Session Sour. That's a mouthful.
Nice.
It's only
We just-
4.5%, but it is tasty and refreshing.
Y'all are gonna
That's
enjoy the one I'm doing. I have super smoothie. I said it right, okay. But it's this angry
Oh my gosh, I love the art on that can. It's so good.
That's great.
super smoothie, and it's a I didn't realize it was that much alcohol. Holy crap, it's 11.5, and it's an ale.
Is that
It
a
has-
pint?
It's the can.
Yeah, it's a pint.
Yeah, so I will not be drinking all this.
love
Mango, mandarin, pineapple, and vanilla. So I have no clue how this. Oh, it's
Ooh, it
orange.
sounds good.
It's straight up orange.
Sounds really good, though.
It does, and that can is just amazing. I love that artwork.
That is really good.
Now tell me, how much was that can at Metro?
I have the sticker. It was like $6, $7.
Oh, that's it?
Wasn't bad.
Damn.
Wasn't bad.
Bad.
All right.
This is really good. This. You know what? It needs to be put into a blender with ice and then like made into a like drink. That's how it tastes. Anyways,
I like it.
Awesome. What you got, Stace?
I'm actually drinking coffee today, but I didn't do my like blender frappuccino because I did not have time.
Mhm.
I just did so there's Colombian coffee because I need strong coffee right now. Getting tired and I still have stuff to do. And then there's some white chocolate syrup, some dark chocolate syrup, and some milk. And I just frothed that together, like everything but the coffee, and just poured it in there, stirred it around. It's actually pretty tasty.
Sounds
All right.
amazing. Sounds good. Actually, yours
And it's
sounds
easy.
better than mine because I'm
Mhm.
I'm like coffee sounds so good.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually drinking coffee almost every day now. It's just like the K cups, and I just add in like a creamer. So
It works.
So we've got you
That's
addicted to coffee because of the Colombian coffee. Is that why?
that Colombian coffee was choice, man.
Oh, it's
With
so
the
good.
evaporated,
Colombian
with
coffee
the
is my
evaporated
favorite.
milk. Mm.
That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
the condensed milk
Condensed milk,
and
excuse me. Yeah.
no, it's just heaven.
man.
I love it.
And a lot of sugar probably too.
Oh yeah, the sugar.
Yeah.
The sugar helps.
Necessary.
The sugar does help. So guys that are joining us again, this is part 2 of we kind of had like a change of plans. So part 2 of what we did yesterday, which was rating the Star Wars movies and major TV shows. We had Justin with us yesterday, but he not feeling so hot, right, Stace?
Yeah, the tiny child has infected him with her germs once again.
Oh no.
As kids
so
will
he's
do.
So he's not feeling great today,
the
but we do
parasite
have
has
his scores.
parasites.
Parasites.
Yes.
Parasites. Oh.
That's it. I do have we have his scores, and I have extensive notes about the
All
things
right.
that he wanted to say. So
All right.
And I think the fun thing is, Chris, like you saw episode 9 for the first time today.
Yes, I did actually. I just finished it like a couple hours ago.
So I'm sure you're gonna have something to say. But the good thing is we get to go through the first 2 shows that we chose first. And then I think we should talk about a little bit why we didn't pick Andor or Obi-Wan's story. Like there's a whole bunch of other
Yes.
shows that we didn't have time for, I don't think.
because there's so many now.
It's so vast. It really is.
It really is. And give me a second to get set up to present.
And I think there's been a question with, all of the extended shows and things like how much is too much? At what point are you taking it so far that people are just like, I'm done. I don't want to watch anything else.
Mhm.
Because so many of them
Yeah.
are connected too. And that's the other problem. Like, stop connecting everything. No one has time to watch all of those things. And you actually see that in the new season of Mandalorian, because if they didn't watch Boba Fett, they come in and they're like, what the heck? How did this happen?
Yeah.
Because something vital happens in Boba Fett.
Right. In full disclosure, like I haven't seen season
The newest one?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I don't know what happened there. Season 3. My mic has been doing this. I'm not sure what the hell's happening.
Yeah, I actually have not seen season 3 either.
I've started it, have not finished.
Got it. But I can say a lot about season 1 and 2 for Mandalorian.
Yes.
I personally really enjoyed this series. Season 1 was some of the best. Like, that's what I thought Star Wars would be, to be honest. Like, when we got 7, 8, and 9, and then we got Mandalorian. I was like, Mandalorian is what I wish those movies felt like, you know?
Yes, because it was so good, and it was, you know, it was a very vast world. And I have to hit Justin's most important point. The last episode of season 2 with Luke Skywalker, he was like fangirling. He was so excited.
I was too. I was flipping out, man.
Oh, it was so good. So well done. Just
you see, beautiful. Like you just see the X-Wing come in, and then you just hear a whole bunch of commotion behind the doors, and then all of a sudden, shoot, there he is. Oh my God, there he is. He's here.
He's here. I'm so excited about that.
Again, he's like a legend. He's again like a demigod or a god, just showing up in this fucking ship, you know? Like there's just rumors about him throughout the galaxy, and the galaxy is vast, obviously. Right. So to even hear about these people that are in like the first 3 movies is just like, and then much less to see them is just like, holy shit.
So question, as Clone Wars watchers, Stacey, how much did you guys like Ahsoka coming in?
I was so excited because honestly, Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters after watching Clone Wars.
Same.
So I was super excited to see her, and I can't wait for the Ahsoka show to come out. Like, I'm honestly just thrilled about it. And what I liked about her was that she carries not just one lightsaber, but she has a Shoto too. So she can dual wield. It's fantastic.
It's seeing her, I was like, oh, real life? What? It was so good.
I was so excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I got to say about the Mandalorian though is that the first season, especially, I think they treated it kind of like a spaghetti western kind of deal.
Yes.
A little bit in a way, and I love that because you got the lone ranger, just like he's which is the Mandalorian. He's like going from town to town, just drifting on like a general mission and then completing these side missions every now and then to get what he needs, you know. But I just think he's a good character, such a great character. I mean, it's really hard to emote with a mask over your face, you know, or a helmet on.
Yes,
right, and he did. That's like
yes. But we also have to talk about Grogu. I mean, come on. Where would the show be without that adorable little thing?
Yeah. I mean, Grogu's great, but you know he was definitely put in there to bring in a child audience.
I was a little bit because I'm like, Stacey and Chris, where's Grace, my other thinker? You guys are like, oh, it's so cute. I'm like, and I get so many memes with Grogu. Like people send them to me because they know I love Yoda, and I'm like, not the same, guys, not the same.
I will honestly say I have a Grogu on my desk. Like I really do.
I have no problems with Grogu. We good. I like the Grogu who eats the frog.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, that episode was so funny.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Like somehow there were so many episodes where him wanting to eat things gets them in so much trouble, like the spiders and so good though.
So Mandalorian. So I'm generally taking it. We like it.
I like it a lot. I do.
Me too.
Let's start with Justin's score since he's not here. I'm curious to see what he had to say.
Yeah. So what was his score for this one? I did not. Yeah,
4.5. I got it. We're good.
He loved the show. Like it was really well done. It was great story, great writing. And again, I think he would have given it that score just for the Luke Skywalker scene. Because Luke is one of his favorite characters, and it was so just fantastically done.
I agree. For me, I would say 4.25. Still, I mean, that's pretty high for me. We know this. It's episode 4 level for me.
Yeah.
I generally can't find a whole lot wrong with it. I do think that maybe there was a little bit of fan service, I think, in the beginning, but I liked it. I don't know. I have a tough one. You know, it's tough.
I mean, there's ways in which you can just do fan service for the sake of fan service. Excuse me.
Right.
But there are some ways where you can integrate it to where it actually flows with the story and does not it's not just like a wink. It's actually like a plot. Like it actually works with the story.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me was it Gina Carano, No, she had a bunch of controversy and ended up like basically writing herself out of the show, which is a shame because I thought she was a good foil.
Oh hell yeah,
she was.
And so that kind of that was really rough for me, especially like knowing she was out of the picture.
But then you bring in Moff Gideon, and
True.
I mean, he's a fantastic bad guy in everything he's in.
Yes.
Yep, agreed.
Like I always remember him as Gus from Breaking Bad.
Yes, Gus Fring.
I have not seen Breaking Bad.
You have to watch it at least once. It's really good.
It's so good.
And Chris, I have to do it because I have to. Ted Lasso. Yeah. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say Ted Lasso. Chris and I have been. Did you finish? Are you caught up?
I'm not yet. I have one more episode, and then I'm waiting on the next episode.
Okay, yeah, it's good. So Chris and I have been binging Ted Lasso. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have Stacy binge watching it. Pretty soon.
It will be happening at some point. So I'm gonna give this a 4.5 also because it's fantastic. It's well done. And you don't actually have to know who all the characters are because they do a really good job of explaining it. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. The characters are just so well done. You connect with them very well. And yes, 4.5 is going to be my score as well.
Awesome. Who of us has watched Boba Fett by the way?
I have.
I have not. So I'm gonna. Okay. I'll take my dash here. I have not watched Boba Fett.
I have serious opinions about this show.
Yeah. Would you like to start us off then? Go for
yes. It. So we were really excited about getting a Boba Fett show because he's a fantastic character. He ended up being this bigger character than anyone expected. And the last we saw him was getting stuck in that Sarlacc pit. So naturally, that's where the show opens, and it explains how he got out of it. But we found ourselves really disappointed by this show because it felt like Boba Fett was a side character in his own show, at least to me and to Justin.
I agree.
Like, he's a fantastic character. Why was he not like the badass version that he could have been? And the actor playing him in the show had the same issue everyone else had. Like, why is this character written this way? There were great characters in the show, the side characters, but you end up feeling like Boba Fett is the side character and all these other characters are like the main ones. And then there's 2 episodes where you don't even see him because they're about Mando.
Yeah.
And how he gets Grogu back.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wait, why? Like, when those 2 episodes were the best ones in the show, in my opinion, there's a problem.
Yeah. I actually got excited to see Mando in there. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this kind of just like an extension of Mandalorian now?
Yeah, and that's exactly how it felt because it just like stopped Boba Fett's story and it turns out to be about Mando. I will say we got a Rancor, which was badass.
Yeah, it was.
That part was great. But when you get toward the end of the season, when like those younger kids get brought in, they reminded us of Power Rangers because like the different colors and like how it was done, it was really bad. I did not like that part.
Are you saying Power Rangers is bad, Stacy?
No, I'm saying the way they did it was bad, and Power Rangers have no place in Boba Fett.
No, they don't.
That's funny.
It was not well executed at all, I don't think.
Yeah, I actually ended up forgetting a good amount of it too as well. But I mean, the only parts I do remember is like when Mando was in there.
The other one I remember is when he got his shit back, and you see that like glimpse of badassness for just a minute, and then it goes away.
Yeah.
I wanted to love this show, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So what are we?
Justin gave it what did he give it? A
2? Yep, he gave it a 2.
And I will honestly agree with that because I wanted to love the show, but I did not.
Yeah. I mean, there's still elements in there that I like, so I'll give it a little bit higher, 2.5.
It just didn't do justice to Boba Fett in the slightest. He's a badass character, and you don't see it.
And I'm sure plenty of fans. I'm sure a lot of fans are pretty let down by this as well.
Yeah, because he's a fantastic character. Why in the world? Where did Sam go?
I don't know. Having technical difficulties, people.
Yes. Hopefully Sam will pop back in here in a second.
All right.
Here comes Sam. Hold on. Let me... Oh. There you are.
Hey! Welcome back.
Listen, we're nothing like having going live and then computer being like, "Oh no, you are not."
I love that Sam is me now.
I am you now.
Oh, you are.
Because I've logged into
You
the
got two
account too, so I can
Stacies.
download videos. God, no one needs two of me. That's bad.
I wonder if I can. I don't know if I can change it. It's fine. We'll be. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get it back up. This is what
Here, I can
happens
change
when you have too many tabs open. This is my fault.
You need to get out of that habit. Really.
I know.
I'm just as bad.
I was telling Chris that I had
can't
something
do that.
like 30. I mean, because I have to, like I'm used to it, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I
don't
just
know.
so happens that my computer does not like when I do that.
My
bothers
browser
the heck out
tabs
of me.
are like my brain. Like
Yes.
there's so many going.
Yes.
Like,
But they're
that's just-
organized. They're all
yes, I
organized.
know where everything is,
Yeah.
but
that,
it drives
that's
other
still,
people nuts.
It drives me nuts as a customer support agent because I got to make sure I have, certain tickets open, and I can't have 50 tabs open just so I can search for the right thing. Oh, it's ridiculous.
I'm a goodness. It does not want to. Sorry, guys.
When I'm really bad about pinning tabs, so I don't accidentally close them because I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's like something I need open, I'll pin it.
I have.
And then I'm like, okay, which one is it?
I was telling Chris I have like something like 10 pins. All right, I start with a window that has like 10 pinned stuff, and then it goes haywire.
That's what I do too. So I'm with you.
And they're all organized in a certain way. Like they have to stay in a certain way.
Yeah, Justin hates that. He's like, why is all that crap open on your computer?
I know
Go back to yours. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. I have my system. I've been doing it for a very long time.
Granted, he's not wrong. Like when I'm trying to edit video and I have all this stuff open and my computer's like,
yeah, and that's exactly what my computer did. It was like, you're trying to present, you have 50 tabs open, you have Slack open. We do not like you.
Yeah, you need to stop.
Let there be shame. I was shamed. And I'm working on it, guys. We're about to get it up here.
So,
all right.
We've kind of gone through the timeline at this point. So now we're to the new trilogy. And these ones came out in like around Christmas because every one of these movies we saw in the theater for my birthday because it was the ones that came out around my birthday.
Nice.
So I did see this whole trilogy in the theater.
That's awesome. Yeah, so did I. I saw this whole trilogy in the theater as well. I think we have a lot to say about these episodes in general.
Yes.
Starting with episode 7, the thing for me is I think like anybody else, I was very excited to see a new Star Wars movie.
Yes, I was too.
Yeah, we had high expectations.
Right. And I think that J.J. Abrams knew that. And I top line, he delivered for episode 7 for me.
He did.
For sure.
And I think that he balanced the nostalgia for us as people who were returning to Star Wars really well. It wasn't ridiculous. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, nothing was just shoehorned in just for the sake of nostalgia.
Yeah. And I'm okay with you like drawing on my nostalgia heartstrings or whatever if it's done in such a way that's good. Like, and he did. Like he did. He delivered on the things that needed to be delivered on. And I thought episode 7 was a solid addition to Star Wars. I think it does suffer from the same thing A New Hope does, which is it had to kind of kick us off. Exactly. It had to establish, and that can be a little boring sometimes. And there were definitely some times in this movie where, it was a little boring, but overall it was not bad.
I think what's funny, and this will tell you what kind of Star Wars fans we are. When the toy series launched for this movie, we had a Toys R Us here, and we literally were standing at the door at midnight to go in and buy the toys because I wanted that dang lightsaber.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because that's one cool thing that we get in this movie is the crossguard lightsaber. You've never seen one like that before. It was really cool. And BB-8 is the other really cool thing you get in this movie. And the thing that most people don't know is that the design for BB-8 was actually from the original trilogy, but they didn't have the technology to pull it off then.
That's awesome.
So we got BB-8 in this movie because they finally had the tech to pull it off. And that was a really cool design.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you do see Han Solo in this movie, which was kind of exciting because it's been a while. It hurt when he died.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
I mean, it was important, but it hurt my heart a little bit.
I don't know.
It really well.
Can I be honest? I don't know if that was necessary.
You know what's funny is that Harrison Ford tried to get them to kill his character off after episode 4. Like every
I remember this. You're right.
Well, he was in Carbonite in episode.
He was in Carbonite for a while.
Carbonite, excuse me, not Carbonite. But yeah, and I don't know. I quite enjoyed episode 7 a lot. I actually really liked the opening scene and kind of like establishing Poe and Kylo Ren as a character. because you get that epic scene where he captures Poe, and Poe tries to shoot him with a laser, and Kylo Ren, like a badass, just stops it in midair and just walks over to him like he's doing is not that big a deal at all. It's so freaking great.
It was really great.
Mm-hmm. And there was a little bit of exposition in there, but I mean, I think it was paced very well. I think this is actually probably the best paced film of these three. Yes,
by far.
absolutely.
Yes.
And that, I think, comes from the writing chops of J.J. Abrams. And I know some people don't like J.J. Abrams. I do. And I'm okay saying that. And I think that because of his writing chops are so strong, he can pull a good story together. And you got that in this episode, and you sure as hell didn't get it in the next 2 episodes.
No. And I think what I liked about episode 7 was, you got a good establisher on the characters. You started to see some relationships building. I was excited to see Rey because, she had that staff, and I was like, please God, give me another dual blade lightsaber. Give it to me. Come on. And I was hoping that was coming. And it did not. I was sad about that.
Yeah.
But I was hoping for it. And
I was going to say, if you ever read the comics, you actually do get like a lightsaber whip. Some crazy shit like that.
Yeah. I would say the problematic things in this episode is I don't know how I like Daisy Ridley. I think she did as well as she could have done, to be honest, all said and done. Because I mean, that was such a role to fill in general.
Well, she's essentially the new Luke,
Right.
Yeah,
She's
and I don't think in this movie they did okay with establishing. There wasn't a whole lot of character building necessarily for her.
Which we were hoping that they would get into in 8 and 9. Really.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of 8 today, and I tried to really understand her as a character. But I think how I watched it, I realized she's just a flat character. There's not a lot to her, and I don't know. I don't know if I like that, because there was something about Luke being a smartass emo boy at the beginning, and then really seeing that character progression over the 3 movies. There was a lot of character progression there.
Yeah.
She did not get, not even, and Luke actually had a lot of character progression, even in A New Hope. And Daisy Ridley could not pull this off. I
don't think they did a great job of character building for any of them.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a little bit with Finn, and I do love, Justin loved the design on the new Stormtroopers. He was very excited about that. We bought the popcorn bucket that was like the Stormtrooper.
That's awesome.
I have something stored in it now. I don't remember what, but I thought it was really cool. That design was good. I think the other misstep was Captain Phasma. It was...
Yeah,
it was like they were trying to create another Boba Fett, that character that they promoted. Because if you remember, we bought the cup at the theater and it had Captain Phasma on it, and then you see her for 5 minutes of the movie,
pretty much. You know what? Who else feels that same way? But you see him more as General Grievous in the movies, not in Clone Wars, okay, but in the movies. And I always felt like, what is the purpose of this guy? Like, why do we have him? Like, what is his actual, besides looking cool, okay, because that's what I think he was put in there for, is to look cool.
Yeah. And the same with Phasma, but that's all they did.
And it's like, you gotta give me a story, guys. You gotta give me
a story. Sucked because Gwendolyn Christie is a fantastic actress.
Oh, yeah.
And so wasted on that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But like I said, though, I would say it did establish really well. It just... And they could have established it so that in the future episodes we could have had that character development that we needed, but we just unfortunately never got it.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so what do we want to give this one? What did Justin give this?
Justin gave this one a 2.5, which I think is rough.
Okay, he's pretty rough on this trilogy. I'm gonna go ahead and warn you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opinions here, because you don't see the character building. And there were some serious missteps. Like you start to see Snoke, which seems like a really cool character, and you think, okay, this is going to be the bad guy for this trilogy.
Right. I mean, it's Andy Serkis. He plays a
great
bad. Everything he's in is just gold.
I know, and so I was excited about that. The other issue that Justin had was that in this trilogy, why in the hell are we using Anakin's lightsaber again? Why is it still here? Like, this bothers him, because he's tired of the blue lightsaber at this point. Like, you could go with so many colors. Why in the hell are we still using Anakin's blue freaking lightsaber?
And
This is
you
a
know,
problem.
Stacey, when you ran off last night, we talked a little bit about how having a lightsaber, making a lightsaber is a rite of passage, and that every color means something,
and you don't see it here. You don't
see them
and that's
making
disappointing.
it. And it's supposed to be like a rite of passage to get your kyber crystal. It's not easy. It's
And
supposed to
they
be a rite
actually
of passage.
in Clone Wars, you see that. Like, they actually go through the whole process of creating a lightsaber and how the crystal picks you and all these things. So the using of someone else's lightsaber is just complete crap.
Well, I think the reason that they did that is because Rey is kind of like finishing up the previous generation's legacy, you know, like their whole thing. They're like, obviously there's greater that like a big bad evil guy from a previous generation that needs to be dealt with that you find out about in episode 9.
But it pissed him off that they were still using that lightsaber because there were so many other options.
Yeah, true.
Like it just did.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll personally give it it's not awful. 3.5 is 5, is where I'm gonna go with it. It wasn't bad, but 3.5, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna get you. Spoiler alert! This is the episode I liked the most out of the 3.
I think 3.5 is fair for this movie because it did a lot of things right.
It did.
And you gotta kind of take it for what it is before you factor in the next movie, because a lot of things get ruined as we move forward.
I think,
and that's the hard part in scoring this one, is remembering, okay, it cut off here. Like, you can't take any of this other crap and factor it in yet.
So, Stacey and Chris, what do you guys have to say?
I'll say 3.5. I think that's fair.
I was leaning towards 4, but I'm going to say 3.5 as well.
I think it's like I said, it's solidly not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still on the positive.
However,
the next one. Okay, I'll open and say that I did watch a little bit of it today. I watched probably about 30 minutes of it today because I wanted to just kind of remember how I felt about this movie, because it had been a long time, and I'd seen the last one a little bit more recently, and I don't even know where to start, even in the first 30 minutes, because it's such a shit show, right? Like, this whole movie is a shit show, and the reason I want to say the reason is because J.J. Abrams did not have the writing, like, say in the writing in this episode.
Yeah, because he gave it up. Like, he was like, I don't want to mess up Star Wars. I'm going to let someone else take this movie, and that is the entire reason he messed up Star Wars.
And and don't get me wrong, there are parts in this movie that I really like. I'm going to say it right out. Mark Hamill has the most, like, funny punchlines.
He does.
And also, I got to say one thing: blue milk.
Oh my god! Right. And those little people in the village, like,
the ones who are like, "Why are you breaking all my shit all the time?"
But think about what we just said were the best parts of this movie, and that tells you what's wrong with it. The only word I have is blasphemy.
You know what it is I think what happened there. I think a lot of things happened in this episode, and the main thing that happened is they were trying to put so much in this episode to move it along, and they started bringing in things that just were so, like, superficial and not well explored, and gave you a shit end to get to the next point, right?
Yes.
Where Empire Strikes Back, like, has a lot happening, but it's very cohesive throughout the whole thing. So you really you can really follow how it's going, even though, Luke is in Yavin 4 and everybody's on Cloud City, and that, there's a lot of things happening, but it's cohesive. Where no.
Okay, let's go with this. He destroyed Luke Skywalker as a character. I mean, just completely destroyed. That character spent all that time being built, and the things that happened in this movie never would have happened with that character as it was. So what the hell? That was the first problem.
Was like the whole thing about, like, him actually considering killing his own nephew or something like that. Or
we're talking about the guy who was insisting Vader could be saved. Vader, the guy who had done all those horrible things, but he's going to try to attack an emo kid with a lightsaber while he's asleep? Come on.
Right.
And bullshit.
The other thing is, and him and his sister have if you've read any of the books, even canon books, and you see, like, he loves his sister, and his sister sends Rey to get him, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that. It's like, dude, like, really? You're just gonna be
I will say it was kind of fun. It was kind of funny to me how he takes a lightsaber and he just chunks it.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
That moment was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Listen, anything that like the thing about Mark Hamill, I think that really worked in favor of this movie is that any writing he did get, even though it was shit, he made it work. I mean, he made it work, and
I did not agree with how they wrote this character at all.
I could see that, and I cracked up laughing quite a bit of times, like the lightsaber scene, and then like him just being the milk scene, the blue milk scene. Like, there's so many funny points in there where it's like this isn't supposed to be funny, but it's funny because it's Mark Hamill can play it really well.
Yeah,
the shirtless Kylo scene did not need to happen. What? Why did we need that in our lives? And those pants were so high.
Stacey, why are you complaining about that?
Just saying, like, what did that add to the character development? Yes, we saw Kylo without a shirt.
I mean, I don't know about the character development.
How high those pants were, though? Like, that was ridiculous. That's all I could.
I was there for that. I'm sorry, guys. I was there for. I was like, dude, take your clothes off, Adam Driver. I'm down.
I mean, okay, fine. I'll give you that one. But, and then let's talk about Canto Bight. That whole scene. Okay, so Justin in the middle of this movie, he was so mad he wanted to walk out. But at one point he had to go to the bathroom. He's in the bathroom for the entire Canto Bight scene, and he comes back and he's like, what did I miss? And I'm like, absolutely nothing. Let's keep going. Because seriously, he still understood the entire movie without that freaking section that was just pointless.
I'm a fan. I don't know if this is weird or not, but I do like the transformation and becoming things, right? Like, I loved seeing it at Yavin 4 with Luke in Empire Strikes Back. I love that. I don't think that Luke was the problem in this as much as Rey. Like, she just that's what I realized. She's just a flat character. I wasn't really sure, like, outside of her family issues, I wasn't sure who else she was. Like, I don't know where I came from, but outside of that, like, who was she? Like, what was she? Right. I don't know. I still don't know what her personality. Right, but you're supposed to draw on the blank slate, and we never got drawings on the blank slate.
No,
with Rey.
Yeah, exactly.
I think another problem in this movie was why in the hell would they not just tell Poe Dameron what the hell was going on? Right. What was the point of keeping it from him? It just caused more problems.
I don't remember. Okay, I don't know the actress's name, but the basically the commander who stayed with her ship,
Admiral Fuldo, was the character.
I was, the acting was good there. I can say the acting was good.
I hated the character.
I didn't super care for the character, but I thought it was good enough, right? Like that's not what pissed me off about this movie. It was like the absolute shit show of timing. Like, the timeline just sucked.
The timeline sucked. The characters were not compelling, and I think the biggest glaring issue was at the end of this when Luke shows up. Why was his lightsaber blue? That is not his lightsaber. And this was Justin's biggest issue. Like, he almost walked out during the scene. He's like, what the hell is that? That's not the lightsaber he had. Why was it blue?
Would he be even more mad if it was purple?
Honestly, I would have been fine with it being purple, but like, it made no sense because the last time Kylo saw him, he had a green lightsaber. So why was it not green in the scene? What the hell is that?
I get that. And I'm not so bad about... I'm okay with inconsistencies. Like, I can roll with it. The things that I can't roll with is, like, you had a cast who was really solid. Like, the actors in this cast, besides Daisy Ridley, pretty experienced, pretty solid cast.
Yeah, and they showed that they could perform in the last episode too.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you don't give them the time that they needed to develop because there's so much going on. And
Captain Phasma dies really quick too, by the way.
Again, so Captain Phasma's in here 5 minutes and is out again. Finn has zero character development in this movie, which really actually made me upset because they had started establishing he's a good character. Why did he almost go backwards in this film?
Right.
Like, what was that?
And then they introduced the sisters. And it just felt like they kept adding more main characters and adding more main characters.
Yeah, and every time they added another one, they would put them to the forefront. And they haven't even developed these other ones yet. Like, it's too many things happening.
And I feel like Finn has just become like, like Rey's little lost puppy dog. Like, he's always like, "Where's Rey? Where's Rey? Is she okay? Oh my God, Rey!"
Yeah. Well, and then he's like
in episode 9.
Rose's puppy dog. Like, what was that? He could have been a fantastic character if they had just allowed it.
Right.
But they didn't.
Right. And that's what I think happened is there got to be too many main quote unquote characters,
and an entire side quest that didn't even matter.
Right. And then but you're not only doing that, you're combating with the main old characters, right? Like your Leia's and your Luke's, and like you're combating with them having. I mean, Leia had quite a bit of screen time in this one, even though she was. But honestly, Carrie Fisher was dead. Like this was a lot of that was CGI, like a good bit of that is CGI.
Yeah,
So
and they did very well with that.
they did. I will say that, like, the CGI was well done in this. It's not like, Naboo and the original, the first three. Just this, I can't get over the fact that there was so many storylines happening with no decent.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
speaking
the
of
other. Oh, go ahead.
speaking of Leia, what do you guys think about that scene where she's out in space and she uses the Force to pull herself back into
Apparently,
the ship?
she's freaking Mary Poppins. I hated it. I thought it was so just not. That was bad. Why did we do that?
This
What
is
was
where I
going
want to
on?
talk. Yeah, I want to talk to Justin about because the books that are no longer canon talk about Leia having working really hard with the Force because she's not
Yes.
as adept with it as Luke is. Though she does have Force potential, like she can work with Force,
Yeah.
but it's very limited. And so seeing this was like, what?
Yeah, that was not. He was pissed during that scene. He was so mad.
Yeah, it was never established that she could use the Force so adeptly,
Yeah.
Right. She can. She
you
can.
find out. Is it in the next movie you find out why she gave it up? Yes, it's in the next movie that you find out why she gave it up. But that was really badly done. And I think the one thing I did like about this movie was Kylo Ren's like freak out moments where he gets mad and he's just like lightsaber slashing shit. And then when they're on Crate and Luke shows up and he starts screaming at them to shoot everything they have at him.
Oh yeah.
Like, his acting was great in this. And the other guy, what is his name? The redheaded guy.
The stinking other villain. Oh, what's his freaking name?
Oh yeah.
Like, the crap that Kylo Ren does to him is ridiculous. It's really funny. Like their whole the relationship is
hilarious.
Funny.
It's funny. The thing I do think that episode 8 and 9 do okay with, that I think is more interesting than Vader, which makes Kylo Ren more interesting than Vader, is that he's unstable. He's mentally unstable, and they display that he is mentally not okay. And I think they didn't really do that with Vader as well. He seemed very in Emperor Palpatine's pocket,
and you don't see the struggle happening in Vader.
Right?
You see it like they don't show it well because he is struggling. Like he is so mad at Palpatine. He's trying to overthrow him.
Right.
Which is something that you see like in Vader Immortal in that game. They start showing you like, because he blames Palpatine for what happened to Padme because he tricked him.
Right.
So there is an anger there, but you don't see it in those movies at all.
Right.
Yeah. And he kind of uses it to drive him forward as opposed to actually outwardly showing it. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say the one scene I liked in this movie was in the throne room where they're fighting. But this scene also made me mad because you've built up to trying to figure out who Snoke is. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter because they just kill him.
Yep.
And I thought that was really easy for them to kill him because he's supposed to be another Sith Lord, right?
Yeah, and if you see the ring that he's wearing, there's actually like lore about that ring. He's they were worn by like ancient Jedi or ancient Sith, not Jedi, ancient Sith. Like there's a whole thing with that ring, but it turns out none of it mattered.
I just want to hate a villain the whole time, Like
I know you want to hate a villain the whole time, and you can't because it's so inconsistent. Like you kind of hate Kylo Ren, but you kind of feel for him at the same time. Like you have this weird relationship with him, but Snoke, you're just like, okay, he could be cool or not, and then it's done.
And he's done. He's gone.
The fight scene was good though. Like the lightsaber battle was pretty cool.
Yeah, but he was totally a red herring. Like,
yeah, he was
totally unnecessary.
I'm gonna go ahead and write what Justin put in.
Do it.
It's brutal. When I say he almost walked out of this movie in theaters, he did more than once. He downright hated this movie.
Okay, this might be an unpopular opinion. I'm gonna give it a 2. All right, but the saving grace of this, the reason it's gonna get a 2 and not like a 1, is because I actually did like when did it happen? Wait, hold on. Did it happen in this episode where they burned down the damn tree?
I think so.
With Yoda? Yeah. And you get to see the Force Yoda.
Yeah, Force Yoda was good.
Force Yoda was good. That's why it gets a 2 for me. Because I loved Force Yoda. I thought it was hilarious. I thought that dialogue was hilarious. But it was Mark Hamill pulling out that comedic ability to make something that really wasn't funny.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 1 because this destroyed so many things that I loved about characters and it just pissed me off.
It's just like, dang it. What am I gonna
do? Yeah, they had a good start and then they just dropped the ball. 1.5. I mean, I will say this. I actually liked it at first, but
I
then the
have
more I thought about it,
myself.
yeah, the more I thought about it, I'm just like, it didn't really do anything to progress the story well, or maybe like
it
the
didn't.
characters more.
It was just not well executed at all. And I
I
feel like
guess-
the characters either stayed the same or went backwards, which
Mhm.
is not what should have happened.
Agreed. Now I will say that the episode 9, I didn't hate it as I didn't hate it. I didn't hate 9. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I think the
Now-
problem for episode 9 is it had a lot of mess to clean up.
It did.
Yeah.
Right.
It even
Not a lot.
started out in like a kind of a mess because it's just like one action scene after another. Like you got like I obviously watched it today, so it's fresh in my memory still. But like you start off with like Kylo Ren going out to find Palpatine, which I did not realize they were gonna reveal so early in the damn film.
And he looks like a horror. I mean, this is almost like horror film elements.
Yeah.
Yes.
On Exegol, and when you see him, you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, of these 3 episodes too, Adam Driver is a fantastic actor. Like,
oh yeah.
Yes.
whether I like his character or not, he did justice to his character. I mean, he really, he's good. He's a good actor.
Right.
And you really see a lot of, you see that dark and light struggle in his character a lot during this movie.
Mhm.
I'm
And
gonna totally
it's
destroy you on
perfect.
Adam Driver, by the way. Tell me he does not need to be Snape for any Harry
Oh my god, he
Potter.
does. I want
younger
to see
Snape,
it.
yeah.
I
need
want
that
a
in my
young
life.
I want a young
Mhm.
Snape, and I want it to be Adam Driver.
Yeah, I think even
I
like
absolutely
John
agree.
Oliver mentioned that he's like shoot, what's his name? Who's
Alan
got-
Rickman.
Yeah, he's like Alan Rickman's lookalike, you know.
Yes!
He totally is.
I
He's
want
The
to
so
younger
good.
version.
Yes.
I
But
need that in my life.
yeah, so you start off with that, like he's killing all these people so I can get the pyramid looking thing so I can find where Palpatine is.
The
so I
Sith
can destroy
Wayfinder.
him.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, the Sith
I think
Wayfinder.
about it.
And then very next scene, you have everybody except for Rey in the Millennium Falcon, and they're in like some sort of battle as well, trying to, what were they trying to do in that one? Oh yeah, get some information from a spy within
And
the
what's
First
funny,
Order.
Real fast.
Yeah.
Random Easter egg. The spy that was dropping stuff down, that was voiced by Mark Hamill.
Oh really?
Oh,
It was.
he does Batman. He does a Batman. Doesn't
No, he
do the-
does Joker.
He's the Joker. And he's
Joker
so
and
good as
Batman.
the
Oh,
Joker. Yes.
I can do a pretty good Joker impression too.
We need to have a Batman episode.
Would you like me to? Would you like me to try?
do it.
Okay. Do it.
Hello, bats! It's me, the Joker.
That was very well done.
Batman.
What'd you think?
I think that's pretty good.
Oh, I love it.
I had my volume up a little too loud for it.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to-
I'm messing. It's good.
But you're right. This movie jumps around a lot at the beginning.
It does.
It does.
And then of course after that scene with the Millennium Falcon, it jumps over to Rey talking with Leia and then doing her training in the woods. But yeah, there's just a lot.
And this movie was directed by J.J. Abrams. He takes it back at this point. And they had already had a script written, and then they scrapped it and they started over. But this movie had a huge mess to clean up. And it was never going to happen. We knew we were not going to get the ending we wanted with this movie, and we didn't.
Right.
Mhm.
The one thing I got in this movie that I loved was when Luke raises that freaking X-Wing out of the water. I was so happy in that moment.
There was not really a lot of points for me where I actually was like fanboying a bit, you know.
Right.
Not like in episode 7
No.
or like in
That
the
was the one
Mandalorian.
for me, was when he did that. I was like, yes, finally. Because
did,
you felt like they redeemed him just a smidge.
Mhm.
Right. The thing I did fangirl a little bit is I don't remember where, I mean, because it's been a little bit since I've seen this movie, but where they end up going, where Rey and Kylo Ren end up going, what that area is called, and you see all the debris from the wars. And I think that even throughout these movies, I really did appreciate the fact that they showed the destruction that this war had. You know, from 4, 5, and 6, what that destruction looked like and how it looked like relics, and it was kind of part of the scenery. Because that's
You mean
real.
when,
Like,
you mean when they went to the old Death Star to get the? Is that what you're talking about?
yes, the yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the destroyed Death Stars.
And I just like there's so much debris, and I can appreciate that because like those things still exist, and in history, like our history, like you have ruins and it's not pretty and it's yucky and you
Mhm.
have to remember it, and I can appreciate that.
Mhm.
I think my first problem with this movie was like, really, Palpatine? We get Palpatine
Yeah.
again. Can we
I
not
know.
do anything else original?
Well,
Why?
they
do we
got
get
rid of Snoke so early. It's
I know,
just
and
like,
then you find
okay.
out that he actually created Snoke, which was some
Yeah.
serious crap. Like,
Mhm.
I had
This
issues
di-
with that.
This didn't bother me as much because, and this is where Justin, I know will hop in. There is literally in the books a time where Palpatine comes back like this, and so seeing him again, I was like, it's gonna happen. Even if it's not canon to the books, I'm waiting for it to happen, and so
Yeah.
that wasn't a super shock for me. That didn't really bother me as much. I agree with you, Stacey. There was just so much to clean up. There wasn't a reasonable amount of time that this movie could have been that cleaned up all the mess of the movie before.
No,
Yeah.
and you know, they throw humor in. Sorry.
Bless you.
They throw humor in where they can, and it works in a lot of places. Like a lot of the scenes with Zori Bliss were really funny because of like the relationship she had with Poe, and
Right.
but you start to learn more about characters again and see some sort of progression. But here's my problem with Rey. Luke in the original trilogy, you see a lot of growth in him, and you see him actually going through the training and doing the hard things. All you see her doing is like running an obstacle course, but somehow she's like mastered a lightsaber, has freaking force lightning,
Right.
and only the best force users can use force lightning. Like that is a really, really developed skill that most of them don't have.
I think they were trying to allude to everybody, of course, that she is Palpatine's protege, or
I know,
lineage
and they
all
were
that, genealogy.
but you know, for your diehards like Justin, he's like, she would never have had that developed like that.
Right.
Yeah,
it would have been some other way.
That wouldn't come out by accident, right?
No,
Right.
that's like a Yoda Sidious skill. Like you really have to hone your skills to be able to do that.
Right. Right.
So that was not okay. She's still using that freaking Anakin's lightsaber that she's put back together. At this point, if you've mastered the Force, why have you not made your own lightsaber?
Right. Did you for her, like again, she's a blank slate that should not have been a blank slate by this point in the series, right?
Right.
She still is just not. There's nothing. And if you're Palpatine's, person, right? Like, come on, you gotta have some fire. You gotta have some oomph. Like, Palpatine was a political mastermind. Like, you say what you want about how. I mean, he's also an INTJ, so I'm feeling real.
But
I'm having some real talks here.
Oh, you should not have revealed that because we have another episode where we're going to go through those.
Oh shit! Y'all know so there's your Besotted battle. Like, heads up, by it, guys. But
yeah, but what she's talking about you actually see that more in the original or in the prequels than you do in the original movie. So that's
very true.
His might be different based on that one movie alone.
True. I expected her to be in a different spot by this point, and as a character, and they just didn't do her character justice. I don't even know if her acting was that bad because like it didn't particularly bother me. Like it was more her character.
Again, like you said, it was the writing.
There's no character development again.
And she's a fairly new actress, but I'm sure by this time she's probably gotten a lot more chops. But even some of the best actors can only do so much with so little.
I was also sad that you set up this trio, kind of very similar to Luke, Leia, and Han, in Episode 7, but I didn't see them together. Like they were trying to force us to see them as a trio still in these,
even though they weren't together.
Right, and I didn't like that because you see Luke, Han, and Leia. They have this time to like really get to be friends and really care
and
about
make out with each other
and make out with each other, even though you're bro. Right. So, but you don't get this with those three. So I don't feel like the pain of seeing them all split apart, very similar to Empire Strikes Back at the end, where you're a little upset that like Han's not in the picture right now, like, and you're ready to go with like Luke and Leia to go get Han back. Like you're like, let's go get him back from freaking Jabba the Hutt.
And you start to see character development again in the three main characters, but by this point, it should be developed, and it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And like there's some kind of dumb scenes, like where they're out, they're on that planet. I don't know the name of the planet, where they run into Lando, which I was excited to see Lando again. I was.
Yeah.
But where they're out in the desert and they're running from the stormtroopers, and they're like, they fly now? And I was like, really? It was funny, but like, really? Come on. I just feel like there was a lot going on, and not a whole lot of it made too much sense. Like I know where they were trying to go to, but I don't know if that was the best way to get there.
Agreed. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, and because of that lack of development with the characters, there's not really as much at stake. I mean,
Right.
oh my gosh, the galaxy's gonna be blown up by these things. Well, do we care about Rey? Do we care about Finn? Do we care about Poe? I actually care about Poe the most.
I
cared
care about
about
C-3PO the most.
I cared about Kylo Ren the most, to be honest with you guys. By this
Yeah.
point,
I was upset about C-3PO. That's what I was mad about.
Poor C-3PO. Oh, he did get a reboot, so we're all good.
He did, and in this episode, we got introduced to Babu Frick, who was hilarious. Loved that character. But again, side characters were my favorites, and that's a problem.
And I think I like Kylo Ren because Adam Driver did such a great job at acting. I will say that I didn't hate the ending with him and Rey, like at the end when they're in that it looks like almost like a Greek arena to me. I was like kind of made me laugh a little bit.
That's it's an acolyte. It's a Sith
Throne room.
acolyte. Because all those like things in the crowd,
statues and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And so I didn't mind that. I didn't hate it. I didn't like love it. I wasn't like, yeah, but that's where you can really see Adam Driver. Like he was just a good actor, and I could appreciate that. Like in the midst of amazing actors who didn't get as much good screen time, I guess.
And I'm sorry, Sam, I gotta go against you on Kylo
That's
Ren.
fine. Do it.
Because Adam Driver, I didn't really feel like he emoted a whole lot throughout that entire last episode. Just more angst. I mean, he showed a little bit of emotion whenever he envisioned his father again, Han Solo again. But other than that,
and when his mother reached out to him when she dies,
yeah. And I mean, other than that, I think he was again like another blank slate, like Rey was.
You know, the reason I think I differ here is because I think that and I think you see it at the end. He knew he was done. Like there was no way he was going to come out of this okay. Like if he wasn't going to die in this rebellion, he was going to die by the hands of the people. Like it was going to be one thing or the other. And I think he knew that, and it was just like it is what
he made a choice.
Exactly. And he's like, I'm at least going to finish in a positive way, but like honestly at this point, like I'm not going to see the light of good day.
I think it was interesting that Rey had the ability to force heal, which a lot of people thought was made up, but that's actually in some of the it's a real thing. It's kind of interesting though, the abilities that she had, like some of them were light side, some of them were dark side. So it's interesting that at the end she has a yellow lightsaber. There was a reason for that.
Yep.
We talked about that. Stacey, you didn't get to hear because if I was to pick a color, I'd pick a yellow, right? Because it's neutral, right? Like you get, and I think that's where they didn't do Rey justice or the Force justice, or the story justice, because this is the first character we get that's not bad or good, and we don't talk about it like hardly, not at all. Like you just if you are not a Star Wars person who knows that the yellow lightsaber is the Sentinel one, and it means that you just believe the Force is not good or bad. It is what it is.
Tool. Yeah.
Right. It's just a tool. Like you don't know all that philosophy. It means nothing. Like it's totally flat.
But it was appropriate when she got that. And I was I wanted to see it dual bladed. That part disappointed me just a little bit, but it was nice to see that she finally constructed her own. And she puts that damn lightsaber to rest that no one wants to see anymore. Along with Leia's. It was cool that we got to see Leia's.
That flashback with Luke and Leia was actually really cool, I thought. And they did very good CGI.
That actually was Carrie Fisher's daughter playing the young Leia, and then they did a little bit of CGI because she looks a lot like her mother.
That's awesome.
So cool.
So that was cool, and I think I really liked the scene at the end, like where Rey gets knocked down and you start hearing voices.
Yes.
If you don't know who those characters are, there was a lot of characters in there.
There's a lot.
There was like one or two I did not know about because I hadn't.
They pulled some from Rebels. One of them was Kanan Jarrus, I think.
Oh wow.
It was a really cool lightsaber. He's in Rebels. But all of those characters were from some version of Star Wars that has happened before this. Some were animated, some were not. But that was a really cool like throwback to all of these things that you've seen before it.
Agreed.
And I did like that part.
Yeah, it kind of makes
me have issues.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of like My Hero Academia. If you guys ever seen that one,
I've seen a little bit of it.
Yeah, but it's like that plus ultra thing to me. Anyway.
Well, Justin says 1.5.
Yeah, Justin did not. Okay, Justin and I did not agree on this movie because I liked it more than he did. He was not a fan for very many reasons.
Still,
he just felt like
episode 8, I bet.
He felt like Rey got all of these abilities and didn't work for them because you don't see that progression.
Right.
And I totally get that because Luke worked his ass off to get those powers that he had.
Mhm.
And you do finally get a little bit of justice for him when he comes back and he catches that lightsaber and he's like, what are you doing? What is your problem? Like, that's what Luke should have been in the
Right.
last episode, but you didn't see it.
And I think that comes back down to I love those episodes where you see them working towards what they're gonna be, and her transformation was just not great. Like, whereas Luke's was amazing. Like,
It
from
was.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna give it a 2.75. I didn't hate this movie. Like at the end of the day, there was some good things that came out of this movie. There's some shit. I think it was the shit that had to deal with, unfortunately, from the last movie. But it did okay. It was okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wish we could have seen more of, like, when she sees the evil side of herself, that lightsaber. I wanted to see more of that lightsaber. It was so cool.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
see her like not just be like, oh, I'm just good. I wanted to see that conflict, and seeing the Force as a tool and not as like a good or bad thing. I really wanted to see that. I think that's me, true neutral
sure.
side coming out there. But
Yeah.
For sure.
I am going to give this... I'm going to give it a 3, honestly, because I liked it better than he did. There were still issues with it. There were many issues with it. But there were enough things in there that I was okay with. And I got Dio in this episode and I loved Dio. I also have a Dio on my desk. That was my favorite character.
That's awesome.
In this movie.
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
All right. I was nicer on these than you guys were.
Yeah, you were.
That's really funny to me.
I think I'm glad that the Skywalker saga is now done because it went too far. It really did.
Which bums me out because I actually like the Skywalker. I loved the Skywalker line. I liked learning about it. The sad thing is like I'll keep coming back to this, and I'm not usually this person who's like the book is better than the movies, blah blah blah. I'm not usually that person because I'm like each have different sets of whatever.
Right.
But I will tell you that the book canon, if you just read the books, you would be like, wow, they totally did a disservice to like all of these characters. Like,
yes.
Luke actually had a wife like in the books, and there's some really cool
I want to see Mara Jade. I really do. I want to see it so bad.
Mara Jade would have been awesome to see.
And she has a purple lightsaber. And I think what's interesting, and I forgot to talk about this yesterday, the purple lightsaber is usually for people that can wield the dark and the light. So Mace Windu having a purple lightsaber didn't seem the right fit at first, but then when you get to episode 3 and he wants to kill Palpatine, like you're like, oh, there it is. There's
the death and destruction.
So it actually fit for him to have a purple lightsaber because he had both sides, and that's why Mara Jade has it too.
Them, right?
Yeah, he can because there are users that can wield both, but they don't. They're not really bad. Some of them are. Some of them are called Dark Jedi, which they also get orange lightsabers. That's another color.
I do like
orange lightsabers. We're going to
see.
There's a show coming out that we're going to see that in, and I'm very excited about it.
Ooh,
that is awesome.
right.
So to close it out, y'all ready to see the top 3?
Yeah. So what are our top 3? I'm curious. I mean, I think I have an idea, but
let me get you guys pulled up. Where are you? I have it presenting somewhere. It's just not presenting somewhere.
And we're going to have to do this again when the new movies come out. They're making 3 new movies, but they're one-offs.
I did hear about that, yeah. Okay.
But one of them is about Rey, and I don't know how anyone's going to feel about that, like rebuilding the Jedi Order. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Okay, so, that does not surprise me in any way.
Really? Well, I almost thought that like Rogue One might have been higher than Mandalorian.
Oh, you know what? Let me look. Hold on.
I know I put it higher.
It's not. It's not.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Nope.
All right.
Mandalorian is higher by a bit, actually.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this being the top 3 because they were all really good.
They are.
They are really good. So I think this is solid, and this is a good. We're gonna actually we'll put this in. We'll ask everyone if they agree with our top 3. In Facebook group, you guys. I know even if you don't listen, you'll probably have some commentary about these the top 3.
For sure. Absolutely.
And for those who can't see, I'm sorry. Return of the Jedi is number 1. I don't think that was a surprise. I think that we are pretty clear about that. Empire Strikes Back as number 2, and Mandalorian as number 3.
And I think one thing that they did well across movies, the droids really bring character to these, and including Mandalorian. Like there was some really good droids in there. But in the prequels especially, I really loved C-3PO. Like he had great one-liners.
Mhm.
Right.
Like Anthony Daniels nailed it in those movies with his one-liners. They were so
He always
funny.
does. He always does.
Yeah, well, what about like that whole scene with him and R2D2 going throughout like that factory setting? I'm like
Yes.
that. I
Well,
don't
and
know,
then when they
that
get
was
to the
cringe to me, major cringe.
but when they get to the arena, the things he says, like, "Oh, what a drag!" as his head's being dragged across the ground, and then he's like, "I'm quite beside myself," and his head's right here and his body's right here. I laughed so
Yeah.
hard at those. Like that was brilliantly written. One-liners, amazing.
Okay, so I want to tell you guys that my first Tamagotchi and only Tamagotchi was an R2D2 Tamagotchi.
Really?
There's no surprise, right?
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
So we did a full hour on that, and that was only 5, and we did like I think
Yeah.
9 yesterday. So
Yeah, I
I
think it
just
was
think there was a lot to talk about with the new movies because they
a
were
lot of bitching.
there was a lot of dumpster fire going on there because
Yeah.
I mean it is hard to follow up something that's
It
been
is.
what 30 years ago. They
Mhm.
were such wonderful characters, and George Lucas was not running it at this point. You know, Disney's running it now. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
agree.
you know what we forgot to put in, by the way, as one of our
Hmm.
movies to watch, the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh, I saw that when I was looking. I was like, "What the heck is this?" And did you see? They have a show called The Bad Batch, and I literally read it as The Bad
Oh,
Batch, and
yeah.
I was like, "They would never." And I like looked
I
again,
actually
I'm like,
I need to watch the Bad Batch because you learn about them in Clone Wars, and
Mhm.
I actually do want to watch it, but I just didn't get to it. Like,
but
there's just
I literally
other
thought it
things.
was The Bad Bitch. I was like, "No, they would not do
I love
that."
it.
That was
Now, the
That'd be
reason that we
awesome.
didn't add the other shows, I think it's because we just haven't seen them yet,
We haven't
right?
seen them. I haven't
Mhm.
seen Andor. I haven't seen Obi. And honestly, I'm gonna be real,
I have
there's
seen
real-
Obi-Wan. I did
I've
like
seen
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, and oh, there was some good stuff in there, but
Mhm.
Is there?
that's for another.
This is terrible to say. I feel like Disney is doing what they have done with Marvel, which whatever. You know, I'm
They're
not.
going too far.
I just it's like a factory, right? And
Mhm.
Marvel, they figured out like whatever formula works. And I want to love the Marvel movies.
I
But-
quit watching them because there's just too many.
I just don't know what to think. Like there are certain ones I want to see and certain ones I just don't even care about anymore. And it
Well, I
usually
mean, all of it was building up to Infinity War, and after that, what kind of villain are you going to get that's going to have as much impact as Thanos did?
And
And
I
you don't
think
even
the
have the original
problem
Avengers.
the problem with Marvel is that you have to watch every single thing, show and movie, or you're not going to be able to follow it. Who has that much time?
I
No one.
just
That's
you
true.
know what? It feels I'm gonna say this word and I don't mean it for every single Marvel movie, but it feels cotton candy to me.
Mhm.
Whereas I think DC doesn't do as much cotton candy. So, and I
Mm-mm.
don't get me wrong, I love Free Guy and that felt very Marvel-esque.
Mhm.
Like I
It did.
don't mind it and I don't hate it, but I just don't think I can sit down and watch it all the time either.
Yeah,
you know?
there's too many
Yeah.
pieces to that, and
Right.
Star Wars is starting to feel like that, and it makes me
Right.
sad because it's such a great. There's such great content. It's a good universe, but Disney's going to drive it in the ground like they do everything else, and that makes me very
Right.
sad.
And it just becomes like a factory of shows. And like not that they're bad, like none of them are, Mandalorian, for example, wasn't bad, but then we got Boba Fett out of it, and we got Andor out of it, and I'm like, I can't even keep up with that shit. It's not even
Mhm.
And Obi-Wan was amazing. There were so many things that made me happy about that show,
Mhm.
but it wasn't without its issues either.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, Obi-Wan did have like one of the most I want to say, I don't want to say gruesome, but like intense scenes where Vader just goes out and just rampages.
Hmm.
Man, it actually disturbed me a little bit.
Which I think is
Hayden
is-
Christensen nailed it in that
did.
show.
Oh,
He
I
did
hope he
nail
did
it.
because he didn't nail it in that. I don't like Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
I want to like
No,
him, but I
he
never
was
can.
fantastic,
Mhm.
especially in the scene where they finally fight each other. Like, oh my god, it was so good.
I have
Yeah,
to see
for
this.
sure.
I'll have to definitely see this.
Yeah, please check it out. And like we said, guys, please tell us what you guys think should be your top 3, and whether you guys agreed with it or not, why not, things like that.
Yes.
We'd love to hear from you.
Come at us. We want to. We want to fight.
Please, come on. All right, so next episode we're gonna have like a Besotted battle, where we actually try to identify like personality traits of the different Star Wars characters with the 16 personalities quiz.
But we're
It's gonna be
only
awesome.
counting episode 4, which is going to
Only
be really
episode 4.
hard because you can only use the context in that movie
Yep.
and
Yes.
nothing else.
Because we're
Exactly.
working with Grace, this will be her first Star Wars movie.
For Star Wars.
Which I'm really excited about.
Me too. I'm really excited
sure.
about her watching A New Hope.
Absolutely. Well, those of you that are on here live with us, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're listening to us, thank you for listening to us wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to try and have a bit more of a regular schedule. Just things get in the way, but we will try and announce them on our Facebook page as well, so you guys know when to join us live. But as always, stay besotted, my friends. We'll see you next time.
So we besotted again.